Abaticola and Ferrari discuss everything. With Matt Abaticola.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
I'm sorry I ruined your New Year's Eve party. She tastes like cigarettes.
And Jason Ferrari.
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Two complete nincompoops with microphones and access to the World Wide Web. Presented by Mickey Finn's Brewery in Libertyville, Lake County's oldest brew pub. Now, here are your hosts for this shit show, Abaticola and Ferrari.
Hello there, podcast friends, and welcome into another episode of the AFDE show. It's Abaticola Ferrari Discuss Everything. We are your hosts, Jason Ferrari, Matt Abaticola. Glad to be here with you for episode number 48, and this is a very special episode for our podcast. Our 48th episode began the summer of 2017, so just a little over a year of doing shows together. We've had a consistent and dedicated following. We do appreciate you downloading and listening to the show. We've grown as a show. The places you can find us, where we're available, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find this show. Jason has done a great job of getting the show out there, and it is accessible anywhere you listen to podcasts. Why it's so special today? Because it is our final show in this format. We are keeping our show together. We are keeping our podcast together. We will still release, one show.
We're staying together.
Each week, we're staying together, but we're changing what the show is. We're actually going to take the AFDE show, and we're changing it into the Sports is Life podcast. We are going to focus on and, mainly be about Chicago sports, but we're going to talk about professional sports, anything that's happening within our sports landscape, we will get into with a heavy concentration on sports. Now, why are we making the change? Well, the show has evolved and grown and changed over the year. We're doing it now, though, because a lot of it had to do why we did the avenue we took was because I didn't want to talk sports. After 16 years of being at the Score and the frustration level I was at when I left the Score, I certainly didn't want to jump in and get into sports. I actually took a break from even watching sports. I've talked about that on the show here over the last year. The first few months of being away from the station, I didn't even watch anything. I think I really didn't watch until the Cubs started the playoffs in 2017.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm back in watching sports. Hank got me back into it in the fall with his love of sports and his desire to watch Bulls games. So I started watching Bulls games. And now I'm back into it. I'm reading about it, watching it. I'm listening to Bad Sports Talk Radio. I am charged up and ready to get back to talking about sports. There is not another person on this planet I want to do that with than Jason. So we're keeping the show together, just changing a little bit. We're still going to have Mickey Finn's as a presenting sponsor. Will's Northwoods Inn is still going to be with us. We're also excited for our first episode next week of the Sports is Life podcast to welcome in a new segment sponsor in Battaglio, an Italian restaurant in Libertyville. So it's going to be
Scusi.
It's right. It's going to be this same show, but even better and focusing on sports. And right now, take a look at the Chicago landscape alone. Surprising start for your Chicago Bears at 3-1. We'll get into that pounding of the Tampa Bay Bucks in just a second here. The Cubs are starting their playoff run, hopefully a long playoff run, in about 40 minutes from now. We are recording October 2nd, our final show, the 48th episode of the AFDE show right now, as the Cubs host the Colorado Rockies at Wrigley tonight for the Wildcard game. And I have a lot to say about that because I'm a bit disappointed but excited about the playoff starting. I'm anxious. If September 1st you would have told me the Cubs are going to be in a wild card game against the Rockies at Wrigley, I'd have thought you were crazy. So the Cubs have a playoff run starting. The Bulls had their first preseason game Sunday. The Blackhawks, they start their season, I think, in tomorrow. I think it's Wednesday or maybe
Thursday?
sometime this week, Thursday. But the Blackhawks are starting their run. There's a lot going on in Chicago, and we certainly want to be a part of it. It's a great time to talk sports. With everything happening here in the fall, going into the wintertime, with the Bears, of course. The Bears and football are king in this town, so we certainly want to be a part of it. I am ready. Jason's ready, so that's why we're making the change. Nothing else will change about the show. Just the name and having a heavy concentration on talking sports and a focus on Chicago sports, because that's where it's at right now for us. We're excited about the change. We hope that you'll stay with us because it's still going to be humorous and insightful and mostly dumb because that's who we are. So we're not going to change from that. One of the beauties about it is that it's going to be good sports talk. We're not going to have dumb callers that bring down the intelligence level of the show. We're not going to be hamstrung by management dictating what we talk about or don't talk about. We're not going to, be limited as far as our scope of what we want to get into. That's something that you deal with in sports talk. This is your sports on demand. You want to listen to it on the way home, on the way to work, sitting at home on a Saturday afternoon. This is your sports talk for you. It's going to be the best sports talk in the city, and you can listen to it when you want to listen to it. And we'll launch that new show next week, actually. So we're actually going to record every Tuesday. So that'll give us, Bears games will be fresh in our minds. We're going to be right in the middle of a Cubs playoff run, we hope. And we're going to record on Tuesdays and release every Wednesday. So every Wednesday morning, you're going to have a brand new episode of the Sports is Life podcast available to you. So now that housekeeping's out of the way, Jay, how are you, buddy?
All that being said, I don't know. I don't even know what to do. It's like, yeah, you got me fired up. It's
I'm
like
excited.
You just gave me a pep talk.
Not only excited about doing sports talk with you because it's something I wanted to do for a long time.
I know.
But I am more excited about the branding of our new show and the logo you came up with, and Trish, the work you guys did on that. I had a dream. I had a dream, and you guys you took my vision and you made it because that's me. I have an idea, and then people much smarter and more creative and more intelligent put it together. I'm excited for the logo.
More tech savvy, if not definitely not smarter.
That's your whiff.
But,
she's very tech savvy, but
yeah.
she helped us out with that. You finished it up, brought it home. I'm excited.
She got so irritated with it.
I know.
I
Probably.
literally in 2 days taught myself graphic design.
Well, Krista was like, "Did you text Jason about that one thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I don't want to." She's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I'm afraid he'll get yelled at again, so I just want to stay out of it."
Wait, which one thing?
Well, about the font. I held the font in for like 3 days.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'll just keep that to
We're
myself.
We're good with the font. For those of you who are going to see this soon, I was so excited that the name of the font is Roboto.
Roboto?
Yeah, so I just hear that song
Double
every time
Arigato.
I'm going to look at our logo,
Mr.
I'm going to
Roboto.
think of it, and it's Roboto condensed.
So we'll be the Sports is Life podcast. Of course, going back to my time at the Score, that was a big thing that we brought to the air a lot. Me and my old partner, my buddy Chris Tannehill. Sports is Life, so that's why we thought it would be great. Have a great logo. We will have a Twitter account as well that will just go right into our AFDE show, so you won't have to do anything if you follow us there. We're also going to have a Facebook page, and we'll get that all out there. But again, we'll be on the same format, and you won't, it's not going to be hard to find us. We're going to be in the exact same spot we are now,
right,
just with a different show name, the Sports is Life podcast. We're going to have different guests. I'm going to go back in my 16 years here in Chicago radio and look at people from around the country as well as locally that we can get on and have on for maybe 15 or 20 minutes out of the episodes. So that way we can actually expand what we're talking about too by bringing guests in. I'm going to
go get my old grade school football coach. That's who
who
I have access. And my dad. That's really all I got. Maybe my cousin, and he can be our meatball.
Oh, he will be the meatball.
God, yeah.
So, and one of the beauty about having the guest on this format is there are no limitations. Thoughts will not be limited. Language will not be limited. If a guy has some strong feelings, there are things you can do on a podcast.
Barring what their agent and PR person tells them before or after.
Yeah, what they can or can't say on the radio, there's no limitations here for our podcast. So we're looking forward to that. And of course, my 16 years doing it and producing it at a high level, I've got a great Rolodex of names and people that we can call on in the world of sports to be a part of our show. We're also gonna fly through it. We're gonna have a lot of information, but we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it quick. We're gonna make it enjoyable and easy for your commute or your time at home, just to plug some time out of your day and listen to a well produced and really quick moving podcast. Again, the Sports is Life podcast will launch next week for us. So this is episode number 48, the final episode of the AFDE show. Really can't thank people enough. Those of you that were dedicated listeners and supporters of the show, we know this will continue on because we actually have branched off into more sports over the last couple of months. We've gotten more into it. And
you're still listening.
It's just going to be a natural thing for us. We do thank you for your listening. We do thank you for interacting with us on social media. You can find us right now at AFDE Show, Facebook.com/AFDE Show, and you can email us AFDEShow@gmail.com. Get involved with those because this is the final week you can do that if you want to see the AFDE Show in that
Well, and as you
format.
say, I will still be checking the AFD.
Yeah, you will.
At the email
Jason
all
will
night
still be
long,
watching
just
the email all
hoping
night, right.
someone, please.
I may have to
please.
forward some stuff in the new
Yeah.
email to the old email, so Jason has stuff to read.
Just sitting there in bed, like, come on, man.
So 48 episodes. Really appreciate it, and I can't believe it's been 48. But it's been great. We've had some great, unusual guests. During our time with the AFDE show, had some fun times with it.
Donuts.
When I hear from people, the first thing they usually say to me is the episode we had with Terry on, where Terry gave us 90 minutes of his time. It was just great. You can always go back and check out any of the previous 47 episodes. Maybe the Sports is Life pod will be something new for someone. They'll have 48 episodes to go and listen to and check out.
Oh, yeah. I will ensure that those don't go away. It feels completely unfair to the audience and just to the work.
Yeah, no, we
48 shows just to go bye-bye.
We've been talking about this for weeks now, and it had some thorough planning to it because we didn't want to launch and have it be sloppy. We didn't want to miss a beat. We don't want to lose anything from what we gained over the last year, which is most importantly you. So thank you once again for listening. So now let's get into it because the Chicago Bears, thankfully, they did me a favor by just beating the crap out of the Buccaneers. There's two things for it for me, and then I know you have a ton of stuff to get into, and we'll let you just fire away at it. The first thing is it allowed me the freedom to go to the Cubs game because it was a big Cubs game on Sunday, taking on the Cardinals. It was a must-win situation for the Cubs to get into that one-game playoff with the Brewers, which we'll touch on a little bit later. The second thing was, hopefully this shuts up all the stupid people in town because I'm so tired. I heard Matt Nagy should be fired after the Packers loss. I heard Trubisky should be benched after week 2. The kid's no good. What a mistake they made in moving up to draft him. They drafted him too high. They keep comparing him to Mahomes and other guys and Watson. You finally saw a glimpse. Now, I don't expect it to be consistent. This is not going to be a consistent thing throughout the rest of the season. This was a terrible defense with injuries they took advantage of. But boy, did they look fantastic. And you finally saw a glimpse of what Ryan Pace saw in not only drafting this guy, but in bringing Matt Nagy here, because that offense looked like something I have never seen from the Chicago Bears before.
Because it's something you have never seen from the Chicago Bears before.
It was awesome.
And if anyone was watching the Monday Night Football game last night, you are seeing, he learned from a very smart coach, man.
It took me about 40 minutes last night of your barrage of texting during the game to oh yeah, this is the Chiefs. That's why he's so excited. I'm like, I know, I was slow. I was tired. Wasn't feeling
otherwise
well.
I would give a crap.
It was an unusual thing for Monday Night Football. And then I was like, man, there's a lot of text today. So we're going back and forth. And I'm like, I stopped watching. I got bored with it. And I'm like, he's really into it. I'm like, he just loves football. Then I'm like, oh no, it's the Chiefs.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I do.
You
I
just
do
love
love football. But yeah,
But they're 5-0 now.
I was
right?
I like
5-0?
watching it because of I can see the tendencies and the things that are
they 4-0? What are
coming
they?
our way.
4-0. 4-0.
Forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if that's what the future looks like, now it may not be exactly like that because you have different levels of play.
Right.
But if that's what the offense evolves into eventually, holy crap.
Well, and this is an interesting scenario too. Like, if whoever was watching that game last night, so you saw what Andy Reid's offense has evolved into, and I do think that Nagy left a little bit of a footprint on that because he's a little bit more about RPO stuff. Like Reid has just evolved.
Right.
Peterson, same kind of thing. Like they introduced those concepts, but they have the Chiefs have the worst defense in the NFL, and they haven't lost a game.
Do they really?
The worst, and they are terrible. Like you were watching them.
Really?
Oh, they're so bad.
They're worse than the Buccaneers?
So bad.
Wow.
So bad. So.
Huh.
Because
that Bucs defense was awful.
I mean, if we could count on a quarter of that performance on the offensive side, along with how our defense is playing, like
no, it was nice to see the ball thrown downfield. Now I don't know if that was just the given situation or if they were able to dictate what they wanted to do, or if they just took what Tampa Bay gave them. But it certainly seemed like this is what they were going to do, and they were intending on throwing the ball downfield, and guys were flying down the field wide open.
I think they've got some obviously some injuries in the secondary. They still have a really good front seven, a good pass rush. But again, when you have injuries, you got to challenge them. And we're going to get into the running game of the Bears in a little bit, but like Cohen completely changes that whole thing for you because he's a different runner out of the backfield.
Right.
In theory, you can stack the box against someone who's a 5'6", like 190 pounds, but he's still an actual legitimate threat running, up the middle.
Right.
And bouncing it out if need be. So no matter what we literally threw at them, I don't think that they could have defended it as well.
It was unbelievable.
But it's very encouraging, and the typical response to this is going to be like, oh yeah, he's like the greatest coach, the greatest quarterback, but you're not going to see. Hey, I would love to see a pantsing of a team from week to week. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you're not going to see a 38-point deficit.
Right.
Regardless, it's just not going to happen.
But it's unbelievable now, and you see what can change in 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Going into the season, I thought the Bears would finish last in this division, given where the other quarterbacks are at, what was expected of the Vikings, what of Aaron Rodgers being one of the greatest of all time. Rodgers goes down in the first week with an injury. He's still playing, obviously, but he's not the same guy. The Vikings are just up and down from week to week. I mean, they lose the Bills.
Their defense isn't doing what it was doing at
what
the
it's supposed to be doing,
season,
right?
yeah.
What you thought it would do. The Lions, you're like, all right, this could be something different for this team this year. I guess I went into it thinking, all right, maybe this is a guy from Bill Belichick's tree that won't fail. Then they come out, they look terrible. They look like they can't stop anybody. They can't do anything.
The Patriots.
And then they go off and they not only beat the Patriots, but they manhandle the Patriots.
Yeah.
So it's really remarkable what's happened after 4 weeks. And here the Bears are 3-1. You have a guy who is he's on pace to be the defensive player of the year without even a doubt.
Right.
Without a doubt.
National talk today was most people that I was watching ESPN and NFL Network all day. They were talking about MVP.
But here's the thing about
him being the first MVP since Lawrence Taylor. And Lawrence Taylor in 1986 had 1 sack in 4 games. He has 5 and forced and
he has 1 fumble a game, forced fumble a game.
Yeah.
And he was asked about having 16 for the year. He'd be like, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. But when you've needed a big play on defense, he's provided one in every game so far. Or
you triple team him and someone else gets it.
It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's great.
The impact he's had and how it elevates the guys around him. And we talked about that and we knew that'd be the case, just not to this level. Here's the beauty of it though, and I'm both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
Right.
Offense and defense, they have not hit their stride yet.
No.
They haven't. They're not.
No, you're in week 4. You're in the first quarter of a season.
Don't let the Tampa game fool you.
Right.
They have not hit their stride.
Right. Plus, they're going into a bye coming off of that,
right.
And I know
that's the worst.
It depends.
Worst time for that.
Right. But at the same time, Nagy said in a press conference, when you go in and you tank a game before the bye, he's like, it's like you lost 2 games because then you've got to just deal with it that following week. He's like, we're going to go in, we're going to be smart about it. I told the guys, don't expect this kind of don't expect this all the time. We're still going to do a 1 game at a time thing, but there's a confidence level that he needs as a coach and that Mitch needs as a QB in a new system and still a very young player.
I mean, that's what's great. That's a great point by you there, that if they have 2 weeks to look at this game and Mitch has 2 weeks to watch and evaluate and see what he's done. I mean, how great is that?
Right. And watch all of his other stuff. Not this one. Watch what he's done poorly too.
Right. Oh no, for sure. Yeah. But I mean, but to have this going as your resume going forward, it's like, what a great feeling it's got to be for him. And then, when you after the bye week, you're going down to Miami and you just don't know what you're going to get from Miami. I think, they're an up and down team. You're going to have certainly a different.
Their record is definitely not indicative of who they are.
They're probably not. Yeah, probably not. They're
playing the Patriots this week.
They got the crap beat on by the Patriots.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. They're playing. I thought they had another big. Who are they playing this week?
I don't know.
Damn,
I don't know. But
yeah,
I mean, at one point I saw they were down. I mean, I think it was like 20 something.
The conversation was, are they better than the Patriots?
Which they're not. I was
trying to say, but
Patriots certainly show that they were not. And not only that, you just don't know what team's going to show up. But you're going to be down in Miami. You're going to have a different weather situation. That's going to take an impact. And an influence on how they game plan and how they use rotations. I mean, you could have a 95-degree day when they're up here, practicing in Lake Forest, and it's going to be in the 50s and 60s. So there are other things to consider as they move forward. But what an unbelievable start! Now, let's get into specifics of the game. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball because I want to get into let's get into the running game with Howard and Cohen.
Okay, so if you look at the touches given by to Howard and Cohen, it's been pretty imbalanced. I'd say through 3 weeks of the season, we weren't really seeing many touches running at all. It was mostly passing. And, this one, Cohen got a majority of the snaps. This is something I texted to you yesterday. And I've been trying to I looked at a little bit of the game again. I've been trying to digest it and understand, what the deal is with why he'd be going with Cohen over Howard, given who Howard is, right? I don't know. I don't know if it's something that is going on in Howard's head, if it's like a skill set or a certain blocking scheme that he's not familiar with, which is the wide zone. So it's like a more spread out, mobile blocking scheme, whereas he's like more of a patient cut and run downhill kind of guy. But I almost it's a bummer to me because I want to see him do well because we know he's good and we know he can do well.
Right.
But it's also something that is cool because it's like, what happens when he has a monster game? We're starting to see the amount of weapons that we actually have to utilize. Like the amount of people. Like I think Gabriel had 2 touchdowns, right? But one was a what do you call it? A
shovel pass
or bounce pass or whatever. Well, shovel pass, yeah. And then the other one was a regular pass. But the ball goes around to everybody,
right? And
then you've got a wide receiver in Anthony Miller going down, and then you've got Bellamy contributing and scoring a touchdown. So we've got so many things. So I think we're going to start to see game to game who gets the bulk of the carries.
That's what was cool about that game too. You had the ball spread around to different receivers getting touchdowns. That shovel pass too was that whatever they call it. They're calling it the Willy Wonka play or whatever, where Chase Daniels in the backfield along with Mitch, and it goes to Chase, and then you get that shovel pass.
I love that they did it twice too.
Yeah, and
Kyle Long's got to be like, damn!
Just imagine how many. What plays they can run from that stupid formation. My only concern is one of those quarterbacks taking a shot,
right?
Because a guy sees it and it's like, all right, I'm just going to go after a quarterback and hit whoever I see. If I had to pick which one gets hit, who my pick is. But that's that weird creative stuff, and I think that's part of the stuff that Mitch talked about going into the season, saying that there's so much that you guys haven't seen from what we can do. I wonder what else is in his magic bag of tricks there for Matt Nagy coming up as the season goes on.
Well, I think a good segue from the running game from what we saw, and it's interesting to see such a little guy who can do that and what Cohen did yesterday. But you also saw mine was Matt. No one even knew who Philip Lindsay was until I told Matt I had him on my fantasy team.
Yeah,
that was another reason I was watching last night. I'm like, okay, he scored a touchdown. I can go to bed.
Well, immediately he had a 15 or 17 yard run.
He cracked it up, but even though he's a little guy,
there's that guy that Jason has in his fantasy team.
Tariq is a big dude. Yeah. Lindsay's 160 pounds, and still he'll run up the middle. He did that at Colorado. Big, really good. The Pac-12, but our offensive line played just very, very good, balanced football yesterday. Everybody. There was no one I could single out who had a bad game. One thing that I did notice is this is the first game where they started to bring James Daniels in, and he got probably about 25% of his snaps. But what we saw of him, Mitch had a little bit more time, and I think that's something that we expected. I thought he was going to be a starter to begin the season, but Cushy hasn't been playing bad, but I think Daniels will make the line better. He makes the line better, so I hope that with this extra week to prepare, Daniels is starting at guard.
I think Cush struggled a little bit in that Arizona game. I think the offensive line struggled a bit in that really surprising kind of Arizona game, but. Overall, I thought he's been pretty solid.
Yeah, no, he's not playing poorly. It's just I think Daniels is better and will make the whole line better. And we saw him. We were talking about your guy Kreutz. He just stood somebody up and he's like, nice first pancake kid or something. And it was just like, yeah, but I noticed it because I'm like 68.
Yeah, no, if you like football and you like O-line play, and if you're not following Olin Kreutz on Twitter, you really need to, because the guy. He posts some of the best clips to watch after a Bears game and to see, and what he points out in highlights, and he also does it kind of from as like a meatball-y perspective fan.
He's like video. It's like video. He's like phone video of the game.
No, but it's just his comments though. You can just tell he's kind of a fan.
Oh yeah, it's great.
He's a meatball, so it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So you should definitely check him out and follow him. After games, it's great to see different videos and whatnot.
But so obviously we saw a lot of what Cohen can do. We saw the same things last year, and in this offensive system, it's going to be interesting. He's going to be utilized all over the place. Wide receiver play yesterday.
2 days ago.
Or 2 days ago, yeah. Yeah, I just feel like the Bears game's still going because I want that feeling to just keep going. But, great route running. A lot of pick plays, if you notice. Nagy likes to call some plays where he has two wide receivers run like the same route and then break off, which we
saw that in the Chiefs game.
We've actually seen fail a few times because the wide receivers don't know the route tree as well yet. So, but it worked to perfection. But one thing that I noticed that was excellent was every single wide receiver was blocking downfield on plays. I mean, Kevin White had key blocks in some touchdowns. Like it was just fun to watch, and you could tell with these guys, it's starting to click. They're starting to buy in. They're starting to understand the system a little bit. White didn't have any balls thrown his way, but I think at least one touchdown was due to a block that he triggered downfield.
Okay.
Robinson, we're still seeing what we think that we're going to continue to see from him. Gabriel, like I said last week, people who are expecting him to be more of a slot guy. He's not. When you get him out in space, he is so fast, and you saw him in space catching balls, catching scores. Burton.
Oh, Trey Burton too.
Yeah. I was so glad when we got him because like that is, that's like a key component to that RPO style of offense. You need that tight end guy, and he is that guy because he's dangerous,
right?
And he can still block. So I think he's gonna, barring any health issues, like we're gonna start to see more and more of this. And the key thing is, hopefully Mitch uses this as you need like that clicking moment.
Right.
He's gonna have, like any quarterback, he's gonna have down days.
Well, I thought,
but like this is the thing he needed.
His press conferences going into this game against Tampa were, first of all, I appreciate both of them, him and Nagy, because they both just talk.
They're honest.
There's no garbage.
Hiding. Yeah.
Right. It's great. It's so refreshing to hear. But I thought this past week was great because his honesty was just like, what, I need to communicate better. I need to let Coach Nagy know what plays I like. What I feel most comfortable with. And it's that level of communication is what's going to help him game plan. And also for Nagy too, it's also a learning opportunity for him to say, all right, I need to take a section of this playbook and maybe set it aside for right now and focus on, on these sections here, the stuff that he's doing better, the stuff that he's more comfortable with. And again, that's a learning process. I wonder what percentage of it they're using, and as it grows, and like I said earlier, both sides of the ball, they're not even close to their stride yet.
No.
Imagine what happens when they're hitting their stride if guys stay healthy. Go ahead. What else? And then I got another point.
A buddy of mine said, who's a Packers guy, he sent me a message about the Brewers, and I was like, that I'm not really like a huge baseball guy, right? And he said, he's like, oh, well then, that Bears game was pretty awesome. And we were just like kind of joking back and forth. And I said, now imagine this. When Matt Nagy learns how to better manage a game, from time management to managing a game and to calling with adjustments a good 4 quarters, look out.
Right.
And this is not me being a meatball. This is not me being a homer. This is, if you watched, you see this happening. Right. The defense is going to hurt somebody, and the offense is not losing games like they have in the past, because the defense is getting the other team's offense off the field.
Amazing. It's really great.
It's impressive.
Now, there's been nothing about Akeem Hicks, right? Yet?
No.
Okay.
Not that I looked right before you got here.
Okay, because he should be suspended. The whole bumping the official thing, but taking off your equipment, throwing it into the stands, that's just beyond, being a veteran player. That's just pure stupidity.
Yeah, I was very surprised to.
Yeah, very surprised.
Just from what you hear about.
Which is unfortunate because he's an important part of what they do. If it's a game, great. You know, you have enough depth, enough younger guys there that you can cover through it. A couple games might be difficult to, you know, it might be annoying to have to deal with, but really got to be better than that. I'm not even sure what set it off. Again, you know, I was watching the Bears game, but my mind was elsewhere. And then once first pitch came by, I checked out because I was, you know, they were up so much. I was like, this game's, there's no question about it. Fun to watch, but it's one of those games I felt comfortable walking away with because I wasn't going to miss anything except more Bears touchdowns. So I was set on watching that Cubs Cardinals game.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, he was having a great game before that. I don't know, and I have a feeling that if we will hear from him eventually, but it won't be during the bye.
I checked out Mully and Haw yesterday morning, and he normally visits Monday mornings, but he was I think he might have been a no show, or maybe he let them know he wasn't going to do it, but he definitely
I think we'll hear
was
after once he figures out. I'm sure there's going to be fines and possibly a suspension. Maybe they'll review it. What's really nice though about this season so far? Only 4 games in. Is we're not really talking much about the kicking game at all. I know.
You know how much conversation we will always have about the punter?
No, special teams in general.
Right.
Yeah.
No, right? And how important, God, special teams can do this. It can really help out. It doesn't matter. I mean, that matters, obviously.
Right. But they're not screwing it up.
But it's not a priority.
What is Parkey, 9 of 10?
But it's not a priority.
Right.
It's not like, because it was if our kicker can't score, it's going to hurt our offense.
Right.
And if our punter is not great and pinning the guys back, it's really going to hurt our defense. And if we're not getting good returns, it's really going to hurt the offense.
Right.
Like, hey, whatever. It's like, go out there and do it.
No, they're not losing games for us.
Right.
But we're also not at the point where there are going to be some games where we need our kicker to.
No, obviously, you need good special teams.
But you're right. It's not a glaring, nauseating thing, and I think that's due to.
It was an absolute necessity for success.
And Tabor was. He's a good coach, smart coach.
Right. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I mean, like it's just any really good team. It's like it's a point of luxury, not really an emphasis. For the Bears, it was an emphasis because it was like it really affected your field placement, what your defense was going to have to do, where your offense is going to start. It really affects your scoreboard because it's like you counted on Robbie Gould kicking you field goals and adding points because you weren't going to score a ton.
Right. If the defense didn't score for you.
Right. So this is it's nice. It's a nice thing. I've just picked up on that in the first 4 weeks. It's like it's not a big point of conversation right now, which is good. It's a good thing.
All right. Defense?
Yeah, I mean, defense once again. I thought it might be an issue with Prince being out. I was like, that might be an area here because this is a really high-powered passing offense in the Bucs. What they've shown the first three games of the season, and they looked like they'd never played before.
Well,
and Fitzmagic gets sat in the halftime, and Jameis Winston comes in. He throws a couple picks. It's just this defense again. They're not close to their stride yet, but they've gotten better each week. And there's no way that anybody in the schedule is like, oh yeah, we get to play the Bears. Woo!
No,
you're now. It's like, holy crap, we got to play the Bears.
Yeah.
I saw this thing on Twitter. John Gruden. I guess Gruden before when did they play? They played Sunday night, right?
Yeah, the Browns
before the Sunday night game. Yeah, or no, it was that Sunday night or was it just Sunday afternoon? Like a 45-42. It might have been Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
But he was sitting there and he's looking on his phone and scrolling through and he's like, oh, Mac had a strip sack again? Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Like he's pissed off about him not being there. The guy's he's
I don't understand.
Clown
he's
face.
Surprised, yeah,
right?
There's something wrong with that guy, man.
But yeah, what a knucklehead. But this defense it's everything we've always wanted in defenses here in town, and it's crazy all because of Khalil Mack.
Right, but we've got the level. It's good at all levels. Though.
No, it
he
is.
Just you throw that guy in and it makes everybody better.
It's good at all levels. With him in there now, you're the best defense in the league. You're going to be the best defense in the league.
I was going to say, other than the Rams, who are
right.
But
I know that's stupid.
But
dude, they've had 4 games together.
Right.
The Rams have been together.
Right.
This is 4 games.
But this is also they brought in Sue. They brought in
I know,
but still,
Matt got there
I
a week
agree.
before the season started.
I agree.
He's been there 4 or 5 weeks.
I know. I agree. But you mentioned Prince being out, and a guy that I told you that I really liked that went undrafted that we brought in from LSU, Tolliver.
Yeah,
got the start.
Yeah, he got the start. I was a bit concerned, but he
played a good game.
Yeah, he played a good game.
I think he was targeted 5 times. There were some catches on him, but he didn't miss a tackle. Callahan is continuing to play well.
If you're not getting burned and like falling down
Right,
for
exactly.
long touchdowns,
Right.
guys are going to make cut. It's the NFL.
Right.
These are the best wide receivers in the world. They're going to make catches. I'm not gonna hold that against the guy.
No.
But he's in the right place. He's on his guy. He's reading the right schemes when they're in zone. He's in the right spot. That's fine. You make tackles, great. You give up you give up touchdowns sometimes. Look at what happened with Fuller. I mean, Fuller's been in the first 2 weeks of the season was in great position. Give up long touchdowns.
Right.
It's not a matter of him being in the wrong spot or making a bad play. Just great coverage. Sometimes guys make great plays on you, and that's fine. Tolliver he actually did a lot better than what I thought in my lack of knowledge of him expected him to do.
Well, yeah, especially when you've got Deshaun Jackson and
right.
Mike Evans, who are legit
beasts.
threats.
Right, both beasts.
Bilal Nichols coming in. He's been playing pretty well in rotation anyway, but he basically kind of had to fill that void when Hicks went out. Played well, got a sack. Trevathan continuing to play well, and we know that. Like if he stays healthy, he's the man.
Oh no, he
just doesn't stay healthy,
player, right.
but he continued to play well. Eddie Jackson, my guy, playing well again. It's so much fun to see. Smith,
another interception.
Smith not mentioned a lot, but you just notice when I see 44 out there, I'm like, oh god, because you see him trailing somebody, and then 58 is in there, and he's so fast, man. The guy's a freak.
That's the thing, though, is I think especially with with the learning curve,
right.
With calling plays and with what he's asked to do, he necessarily isn't going to be that splash player. I mean,
right.
other guys, especially with Mac, those are the guys making the splashes.
Right.
And he might have, he could go on and have a Pro Bowl season, and it's one of those seasons where you just don't hear his name, but it's his teammates that say, without this guy in the field, we're not in the right place. We're not making the right plays. He's not covering our asses when we make a mistake,
right.
And picking up for us because of his speed. That's one of those kind of guys where he can have that kind of season. It's not the announcers aren't talking about him. He's not on highlight films yet. He's making all the plays and making nothing but tackles.
Right. But then that's that stuff that we constantly have in the past, in the previous several years, have lost at is that dink and dug stuff because the middle of the field is wide open.
Wide open.
And that he's not gonna, and he's not even calling the plays now. I guarantee Trevathan's calling them.
Sure.
So he's just getting better and getting game experience, and it was noticeable.
Right.
Because of that middle of the field, we just got smoked against the pack.
I don't remember Sunday's game.
That's
one thing. No,
that's not good.
There's one particular aspect about Matt Nagy. I don't like the visor. I'd prefer if he would just wear a hat. I don't like the bald guy with the beard and the visor thing. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like you're sending yourself too many mixed signals. You just don't know which route you want to go.
You're protecting yourself from the sun.
Right. What's going on? I'd prefer a hat. Hopefully he wears a winter hat. He's a winter hat guy in the winter.
I think. I don't know.
During the week, it's a regular baseball cap.
In the playoffs, he did have a winter hat on.
Okay, good. Because I don't like the visor and bald guys. And the beard thing throws it all off too. It takes it to a new level.
Like the whole coaching staff just rocks beards. It's gray beards. Makes me happy.
Yeah, right. We could definitely be on the staff.
Oh yeah, no kidding. I could be Santa on the staff. Last guy to mention, and I think we'll probably wrap on Bear stuff is Lynch. Had a very good game. He's actually just been getting better and better.
Yeah.
That guy's he's a big ass dude.
He is a big guy.
On that interception, I was kind of watching, and I watched it again. I know that, but I like that he's actually playing well instead of just being a stinker and being hurt
he is playing
and wearing
well.
99.
I know he didn't do a lot in the preseason, and then the first game it was against the Packers. Just that one play, he just the ball was hiked. He just kind of stood up and had a conversation. I was just kind of all right. And then that dumb mustache and wearing 99. That's mental things I need to get over on my own to accept him into the family, I guess.
Well, yeah. It's nice to see we're getting, and I think once Floyd gets use of his hand back, it's just the sky's the limit for this team, man.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what he's going to turn into. The Cubs right now at Wrigley, they're right in the middle of player announcements. They're announcing the Cubs.
Matt's going to pee his pants in a second.
Out of the dugout. They're having the wild card game. This is not the first time the Cubs have had the wild card game played in this stretch of playoff runs. This is the fourth consecutive season the Cubs have made the playoffs. It is the first time in franchise history the Cubs have gone to the playoffs 4 years in a row. It's something I've certainly never seen. No one's ever seen. So very, very exciting. The Cubs have gone to 3 NLCS in a row. We'll see what happens this season. It is disappointing as a fan to see them in the wild card game tonight, hosting the Colorado Rockies. They had a 5-game lead on the Milwaukee Brewers on Labor Day. The Brewers finished the season. They won like 20 out of 27. They've won 9 in a row to end the season, including the game yesterday at Wrigley in game 163, which now that I think about it is pretty stupid. The season's long enough. They play 162 games. The Cubs beat the Brewers 11 out of 19 times in the regular season. That should be enough as far as a tie is concerned. But the Cubs in Major League Baseball made a boatload of money yesterday. This is all about money. That's why it happens. It's fine. If it was not just because the Cubs lost, I'm not saying this, but if it was the other way around and they ended up tied and the Brewers had the better head-to-head record in the regular season, I would say the Brewers deserve to have the title. Why one extra game over 162? It's like, all right, if 162 can't determine the total amount of wins, but then look at each other, how they played, and it was 11-9 or 11-8. It would have been great, but whatever. They lost. They managed 3 hits yesterday. People wanted to blame the bullpen and Joe Madden. It wasn't the problem. The problem was 3 hits. We'll see what happens. Now the Cubs have gone on. They averaged 5 runs a game going into September. In September, they averaged a little under 3, like 2.7 runs a game. That's bad. They scored 1 yesterday. They're going to have to score a lot more. Luckily, John Lester's on the mound right now. If there's one guy in the rotation you want pitching tonight, it is John Lester. I believe that the Cubs are going to win tonight. They're going to go to Milwaukee, where they've had early on in the season great success against Milwaukee. They were 8-1 against Milwaukee to start the year. Milwaukee came back and won 8 out of the last 11 games in the regular season. Of course, game yesterday, 163. I think it's going to be a fun series. The Cubs get past the Rockies, get past the Brewers, which would be great. Milwaukee does have home field advantage throughout, having won the NL Central, along with the best record in the NL. So a lot of things were important yesterday, but it's not the end of the season. A lot of fatalistic Cub fans yesterday on social media saying that the season's a failure, that it was a terrible season. Just not true. They've gone to the playoffs now 4 times in a row. This is great. We are in an historic time for Cubs baseball, and if you can't enjoy it as a Cubs fan, as I told one guy on Twitter last night, you just shouldn't watch. If you can't enjoy this, then just don't watch it. If you're going to call this a failure of a season, then don't watch. Do me a favor. Do the rest of us Cub fans that enjoy good baseball in October a favor and just don't watch the game.
As someone who's, definitely not an avid baseball guy, but like, I would play like my devil's advocate would be like, I've watched 106, and hopefully you haven't, because if you've watched 162 games, there's like, what do you do? What would you say you do here? But like,
I didn't do that when I was in sports radio.
Right.
I couldn't.
It's just like,
too much,
oh my
man.
God.
Yeah.
But like, then all of a sudden it's just like, and we're out. But no, this is what you want. We've talked about this on the show before. This is what you want from a franchise. You want someone who the culture was losing and it shifted to winning.
The playoffs.
Yeah.
And a World Series.
Right. And,
and here's the thing, and you know this with any sport, unless you get in, you can't win.
Right.
It's really simple. And if you ignore that fact as a fan, then you're just plain dumb. Because even if it's a wildcard teams in baseball have had so much success over the last 20 years. I mean, not only just playing well and getting deep, but winning World Series.
Right.
You know what? You know who more times than not does not win the World Series is the best team in baseball. That's an anomaly when the best team in baseball wins the World Series. In 16, the Cubs were the best team in baseball. They were wire to wire the best team in baseball, and they won the World Series. That doesn't happen. You know who wins more times than not is the team that just gets in with 87 wins.
Yeah.
That team goes on and gets hot at the right time. This is a talented team. They've had a great season. Joe Madden does a great job in managing this team. You've lost your free agent signing in Yu Darvish for the year. The guy was barely anything for your season. $140-some million, and he barely pitched for you this year. You lost your closer who you signed in Brandon Morrow from the Dodgers, who was going to be your closer. You lost that guy. You lost 2 of your biggest free agent signings of the offseason, and here you are on top of the NL Central, tied with the Brewers after 162 for the best record in the National League. Anybody calls this a failure, you're just plain dumb.
Well, plus, and if I'm learning anything from it is, I know this is similar in other sports. It's just this is a so many more games. So like you can be playing mediocre or be playing kind of well. And because we were talking about this at the beginning of September, like how good they were. And I think I read today that it was like a 95% chance that the Cubs would win the division. But Milwaukee had like a kick-ass September. Right. And the Cubs had a shit September, not as great as how they were riding into it.
The Cubs were hot. Then going into September, they cool off, but they still had a winning record in September. But they still won 7 of their last 10 games to end the season. Just the Brewers won 9
There's
in a row.
something to be said to be about momentum, though, right? Like, I mean, it's,
there is, but it's really not in baseball, man.
Well, I just mean at the end here,
Yeah,
when you're
no.
close, because they've been as good as they've been doing. They've been close, right? They've been close with people.
Because
in the
here's the
division.
thing with a team like the Brewers, because baseball's so different from momentum. And as Vince Scully said, momentum is baseball. It ends with tomorrow's pitcher. You can have your number 5 guy pitching for you who might be a bum, and you've lost 5 games in a row. Well, the very next day you have your best pitcher starting. You know what? And that all changes. And your mindset as a player changes. You ask any one of these guys on the Cubs roster tonight, going into this game, how confident are you with John Lester on the mound?
Oh, yeah.
Their confident level is it's way above what anything's been lately, knowing John Lester's on the mound. Now, the Brewers, when you get into a streak like this and everyone's hitting the ball and you're seeing your teammate in Christian Yelich, who should be the MVP for the National League, hitting the ball like crazy, it gets you into a mindset of just super confidence, and you just feel great going to the ball game. You feel great getting to the ballpark every day. I mean, in 2011, I covered a terrible team for the Cubs. The Cubs were awful. That was the Mike Quaddy year as the manager. They were a terrible team. And I got really close with Darwin Barney at the time. He was a second baseman for the Cubs. And he didn't know if he was starting a day-to-day. He didn't know what the lineup was till he got there and he saw the lineup from Quaddy. And his mindset was just totally shocked and just totally thrown off, for the whole season. That makes a huge difference. But if you have a team that's winning, and even if you're not contributing to the winning, and you're in that atmosphere, man, you feel like an MVP.
You have like there are definitely like the unsung hero moments.
Yeah.
Where I remember because when I lived in Madison and when the Cubs won the World Series, and actually I think it was the year before when they were the Wildcard team, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I was up there both years. And
yeah, 15 they were the wildcard team. They had to play the Pirates. Jake Arrieta pitched one of the best games.
And I watched all of these games both years, and I it's just not my thing. But I watched all of them, and it's just I love it. It'll be like the old guy who hadn't done anything, but he's the crafty veteran, and he gets a homer out of nowhere. It was just I love that it's just the random guy.
That's what baseball is, though. Baseball is random, and there's no logic. There's no reason to it. Like a guy, Orlando Arcia, who plays for the Brewers, one of the worst, statistically one of the worst seasons in baseball this past year. Yet he had a couple hits in that game yesterday in 163, and had an impact.
Was that the dude who was like?
Oh yeah,
was super.
He might have been because it just it was stat wise a bad year, but contributed to that win yesterday. Brought runs across the plate, and it's because that's just baseball. And that guy goes into it with a mindset of he can do anything because the guys around him are playing like superheroes.
Yeah.
And Christian Yelich, and Ryan Braun and Lorenzo Cain. So this is not a failure of a year. It's a playoff year, and that's all you can ask for. It's exciting, man. It's win or go home. That's it tonight. And it's that'd be like getting mad about your football team making the playoffs. Well, because if they lose, it's done. Well, yeah, that's how it always goes. Baseball just adds a little more excitement. It's all done for revenue to generate more money. That's what baseball's all about. Anything to generate more money, that's what they do. But your team's in. You win tonight. Thursday, you're in Milwaukee, and you know what? Yeah, if you beat Milwaukee, you're in the NLCS for the fourth start. Right,
Clean slate.
Clean slate. It's all forgotten from there. So,
all right,
we'll definitely keep a track of that as that game is about to get underway, and we'll see how that goes. And Pedro Strop is back tonight. I don't know how much he's going to be able to do. He was their closer that got hurt running the first base with a hamstring. He's back now tonight. He replaced the closer who got injured originally. So I don't know. I'm charged up and look forward to talking about not only a win tonight against the Rockies, but when we record our first Sports is Life podcast next Tuesday, a week from tonight, I expect to talk about at least 2 or 3 wins against the Brewers next Tuesday as well. So let's get into our tweets of the week. Last time we'll do this on the AFDE show. We like to highlight some Twitter handles that we follow. We suggest you follow them as well. You can follow us at AFDE show and do that. Do it today, actually.
All right. So first one is from the at AZ Cardinals. There was a tweet that came out that was at B. Urlacher. It was an honor to play my entire career for the Chicago Bears, from Urlacher. You were who we thought you were. Congrats. I thought that was the best.
I didn't see that. That's
that is
great.
The best. Oh man.
Good for them. That's good. That's good.
John Cryer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Ducky?
Yeah. There's this video of these kayakers in California. Have you seen this?
I saw the video.
The funniest thing. These kayakers, they're not doing anything wrong. They're literally just kayaking where there are seals. and a seal like swam up and slapped this guy in the face with an octopus.
An octopus. He had an octopus in his mouth and just swung his neck and slapped him right in the face.
And the guy's just kind of like,
it was great.
Oh man, John Cryer, we humans are totally asking for this.
I agree. That's when you got to eat by a shark too.
Yep.
You deserve it.
Tweet from our guy at Teddy Brunson.
Okay.
This is key one. Muskie Fest 2018 recap is here. Will's Northwoods Inn knows how to throw a party, and I survived the day. Here's the result. Thanks to the whole crew for the hard work, and congrats to the Chelsea, the new Muskie Queen. So I watched it. It's pretty funny, but the video of the whole thing that he shot throughout the day.
So you heard us talk about Muskie Fest at Will's Northwoods Inn. You can go to Ted Brunson's Twitter, and what's his Twitter handle?
It is at Teddy Brunson.
Teddy
But
Brunson.
you can see it. It's on Will's Northwoods Inn and on their Facebook page as well.
Yep,
the video.
WillsNorthwoodsInn.com.
It's called Muskie
You go
Fest
there.
2018.
So check it out. So if you don't know, we've talked about it. You can't visualize it. Get an idea what it is there.
Michael B. Jordan. You told me that I haven't watched it. I need to watch the second trailer for Creed 2. But Ready or Not, Creed 2 in theaters November 21st, and at Chris Pratt, I love his handle, at Pratt, says, "Take my money, ! America bicep fire."
That's great. No, it's a good looking trailer. It's going to be a great movie. I thought the first one was great. This is going to be even better.
I mean, the premise
I'm looking forward
is
to,
absolutely ridiculous,
it's ridiculous,
but it's going to be awesome.
But it's setting us up for a rematch between Rocky and
be
Drago.
awesome.
It certainly is, man.
God, they're going to be doing it in motorized carts.
Boxing on segways.
At Trey Wingo, so at Wing OZ.
He's a good follow.
He is, but it's just funny because he always talks about like random movies. And I had noticed that Lost Boys is on Netflix, and he said The Lost Boys, a very underappreciated film. And it's just funny when you don't expect anyone to say that. But the fact that it's Trey Wingo,
I think it's
super funny. I love that movie.
I think there's an appropriate amount of appreciation in the correct age group.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly. That was definitely it was definitely for us.
You know, I watched a little bit today while I was doing some work home with Jack. Swordfish for particular reasons only. So.
Yeah, Halle Berry. Yeah. Or just whatever that thing was that was on Travolta's head the whole movie.
Just Halle Berry.
Oh, whew. Yeah, she's that's also a good follow on every social media. Yeah, I would recommend Instagram. And our last two tweets of the week for on our last AFDE show have to be from the Onion.
I saw this was a great one.
You know what? I
laughed only because I've been there, done that, and like, all right, okay, I read it. Then I don't know.
And I read this as I needed the points last night to win from Philip Lindsay, so it made it even better.
You know, every time you say Lindsay, all I can think of is Graham, and it just really irritates me.
That guy. Man can still win fantasy football this week, provided tight end scores 9 touchdowns on Monday.
Because I've done that. Because I'm like, all right, if my kicker gets,
who's your flex player?
No, I'll be like, if my kicker can get, if my kicker can kick 7 field goals and my tight end can score 3 touchdowns, I got this wrapped up. I've done that. So. And
the last one from the Onion. Man who just purchased 3,000 rounds of ammunition online. Perfectly sane, thinks man processing order. and those are your tweets of the week and your tweets of the year plus of the AFDE show.
So again, AFDE show at AFDE show is our Twitter handle for the next week. So get an opportunity to jump in, or maybe we'll cut a little short and launch the new thing. But just to recap for you real quick, we're going to start the Sports is Life podcast. It'll launch next Wednesday with our very first episode.
10th?
This is, this is episode number 48, the final episode of the AFDE show. He's Ferrari, I'm a Baticola. I forgot to mention this. I mentioned him early on, but we're brought to you by Mickey Finn's Brewery. Check them out in Libertyville. Those are our guys, 245 North Milwaukee Avenue. 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in beautiful and historic downtown Libertyville. MickeyFinnsBrewery.com. They're at Mickey Finns on Twitter, Facebook, Mickey Finn's Brewery. The oldest brew pub in Illinois. They have their Oktoberfest on tap right now. They actually have a really good line of beers out right now. Everything is back and brewing, and they're firing on full cylinders for their beer. Their guest taps are really good right now with Oktoberfest beers as well. So get on in there and check it out. They do half-price pizzas on Sunday when you dine in. Happy hour dinner specials from like 4 to 6 is half-price pizza Monday through Friday. There's always great specials there. $2 like pulled pork tacos on Tuesday nights. They're unbelievable.
God,
it's just great. They're so good. So get in there, check it out. Mickey Finn's, those are our guys. We'll take a brief time out. This is episode 48, the final episode for the AFD show. but not the final show for us. We're back next week as the Sports is Life podcast.
Well, that's just great. You hear that, Ed? Bears. Now you're putting the whole station in jeopardy.
Welcome back in. It's episode 48, the final episode for the AFDE show. A Baticola for our Discuss Everything, but not the final podcast for us. We will be back in just 1 week, actually. Wow, we're going to release our first episode under our new format, the Sports is Life podcast. That is coming out next week, but this is our final episode of AFDE show. And again, we're brought to you by Mickey Finn's, 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in beautiful and historic downtown Libertyville, the oldest brew pub in Illinois. Live entertainment every weekend. Check out what's going on, MickeyFinnsBrewery.com, their Facebook page, facebook.com/MickeyFinnsBrewery. And on Twitter at Mickey Fins. Fantastic food, great pizza. They're actually on Uber Eats now, so you can get their food anywhere if you're up in that area. So that's good news.
Like Taco Bell.
Order pizza. Oh, God, I want Taco Bell. So
No.
bad. I want Taco Bell every day.
It's on Grubhub.
I might have to go to Mickey Finn's tomorrow and get some pizza. They are the oldest brew pub in Illinois, so live entertainment every Friday and Saturday. Great beer, great food, and fantastic people. Check them out. Again, our final episode of the AFDE show we launch next week as the Sports is Life podcast. We are excited, fired up to talk more about the Chicago sports and sports overall, professional sports that is, and we're excited to do that. So we know you'll keep listening, and we anticipate new people jumping in the podcast with the Sports is Life podcast. We start off the second segment of every AFDE show with That's So Wisconsin. It's brought to you by Will's Northwoods Inn. They're at 3030 North Racine, South Lakeview. WillsNorthwoodsInn.com. Daily specials, trivia night on Tuesdays. Add a little bit of God's country in the heart of South Lakeview. You don't have to be a Packer fan, a Wisconsin fan, Wisconsinite to enjoy this bar. You just have to love a great neighborhood bar.
Fan of fun.
And that's exactly what this is, a great neighborhood bar. So we highlight something from the state of Wisconsin or someone from the state of Wisconsin in our segment brought to you by Will's called That's So Wisconsin.
Okay. This is on
Okay.
AB7Chicago.com, so you know that they're just looking at some way to make fun of Wisconsin, and they found one. Mosquitoes force suspect to surrender in Wisconsin. I was sent this by 5 different people, and I'm honoring all of them, all listeners of the show. My cousin, Phil, like just several people, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'm going to use it. Campbell Sport, Wisconsin. Pesky mosquitoes brought a high-speed police chase to an end in Wisconsin's Fond du Lac County. The mosquitoes are quite plentiful lately in central Wisconsin thanks to recent rain and flooding, but they bugged one man so much he preferred to be arrested by police.
Wow.
It all started when a man allegedly stole 3 bottles of Jägermeister on Tuesday at a Piggly Wiggly grocery store in Campbellsport and was captured on surveillance video. Manager Kevin Harvey saw him load a cart with more than $1,400 worth of alcohol. Wow, God bless you, sir. He recognized him because it was allegedly the 4th time he stole from his store. $1,400. Okay. Harvey chased him out of the store, but the getaway driver... That's even better. He stole Jaeger and had a getaway driver. Oh, my God. John Wilson drove off and sparked a 3-mile chase. The thief tucked and rolled out of the vehicle during the chase.
Wow.
However, Wilson then parked and ran into a cornfield. Police surrounded the area, but mosquitoes were on the prowl. It was so bad, police were looking for bug spray for themselves, said the chief. Oh, my God. As soon as the sheriff's department arrived, that's the first thing I asked for, if he could give me some spray because it was crazy. An hour later, Wilson put up his hands. An hour. So this guy's just getting punished out there. An hour later, he put up his hands, surrendered, saying he couldn't stand the swarming mosquitoes. When we handcuffed him, he asked us to wipe his forehead because he had 15 to 20 mosquitoes on his forehead at the time. Police are still looking for the Jägermeister thief, but Wilson was charged with fleeing officers, retail theft, and obstructing an officer.
You know what stealing Jägermeister is, right? It's rock bottom. I mean, there's really nowhere else to go. I mean, seriously?
I think rock bottom is paying for it.
Oh. Okay, well, that's all right.
Hey, we got to look at it a couple different ways.
As a lot of listeners just now look themselves in the mirror.
Oh boy! No, actually, they're just wiping off a nice brown syrupy trail off their
As
face.
they just finished a shot of cold Jaeger.
Oh,
Disgusting. Cubs leadoff hitter. Ben's over, Scott on. So first hitter's on. That's a
good.
good thing.
Good
thing.
Okay.
All right, so before we get into our stories,
Yeah.
let's talk about man groomer.
Okay.
So first of all, bring back the history of the story and what happened as we move forward here.
Okay. So we've got some new friends on this show, and hopefully there'll be new friends on our new show. But we had named an episode probably 3 weeks ago.
Or longer.
Man Groomer is the name of the episode, and I mean, listeners of the show know that we have some very arbitrary things that you probably never know what they are.
Yeah, there's very random. Jason has a list.
Yeah,
I pick a name off the
They're
list.
very personal to us, like in a jokey way, but
Right.
we don't tell anyone what it means.
So one day I came over and I looked at and I said, "Man Groomer, it is." And we put out the podcast on our social media handles and we
Hashtagged
hashtag
it.
Man Groomer.
Right, with the name of the episode.
Now there was a product called Man Groomer.
Yes. So ironically, I own one. I own a man groomer from like 3-4 years ago. It's just like a dude body hair trimmer thing. But so we hashtagged it and we get an email at afdeshow@gmail.com.
In the middle of the night, Jason's monitoring.
Yeah, actually, it came at like 4 a.m. I was just eating Oreos and crying myself to sleep when it came in.
He's not live.
Yeah, but it was like the subject line was just like in all caps, man groomer, and my first instinct was like, wait, are we in trouble?
Yeah.
Like, and then I'm like, no one owns
We're being
hashtags.
sued.
Yeah, and so it was basically like the company, Man Groomer, saying, "Hey, we listened to your latest episode. We noticed that you named the episode Man Groomer. Do you guys want to try some real man groomers? Like, let us know, and we'll send you some."
Yeah.
And so we've been talking back and forth with Man Groomer. I think Matt actually even tweeted something out. You tweeted something out from your handle,
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, they sent us 2 of the new. I mean, I can't even do it justice.
They're the
but I swear-
newest, like state of the art.
It's like
These have like a jet engine.
like I think like Wolverine is inside these things. But that's how they explained it. It's like the new version 5 lithium, like something. I'm like, okay. So we both got. I had them shipped to my apartment. Matt's stepping out to watch Cubs. So okay. Oh, he's grabbing he's going to grab his.
I got it right here.
Yes, his unopened man groomer.
I can't wait to try this baby tonight.
Oh man. Yeah, hopefully celebrating a Cubs victory with a nice body shave.
So it's got a 50% wider shaver head, extreme reach, rechargeable, lithium max plus, back shaver, power burst. I mean, I'm frightened bonus, second shaver head.
Dude.
Lithium max plus.
What's
This is
funny is
great.
though, it's like called back shaver, but I mean like if you to give you guys
dude,
some,
this has got like it looks like a windshield wiper.
dude. So
Oh,
to
man.
give you guys some context,
That's amazing.
it's like this. It looks like just a normal like a let's probably like say like a 6-inch shaver, but then like you can fold it out into like where it's like a foot, and you could actually like shave like your whole back with the thing.
That's awesome.
But I mean this thing. So Matt's
I
like,
can't wait to. I'm gonna
Matt's
do
like,
this in the car on the way home.
Dude, it'll scare the shit out of you. It is intense.
2 attachment heads with shock absorber necks, shock absorbing neck and head, power burst button, a power burst
Oh, dude.
button.
And you don't need it.
Is that for the really patchy spots
You
on your
do
back?
not need the power burst. I'm gonna tell you that right
It's got
now.
a Pro XL extension lock button, fully extendable and adjustable handle, locks into place at any length you choose to reach even the most difficult middle and lower back portions of your back. Power hinge, easy, push button lock. Oh man, that's the future of men's grooming.
It's the future
This
of something.
is amazing.
Yes, no, this thing is amazing. So, and this is what Matt's like, well, you've used it, right? I said, yeah, but it'll be even more funny when we tell the listeners that I had my wife do it to me.
Oh, dude. Well, their tagline is "Man Groomer, maintain yourself."
Oh, dude.
First of all, the tagline's amazing, and that could apply to a lot of aspects in life.
Right.
When you're drinking Jaeger, hey, maintain yourself.
Yeah.
When your back is hairy, maintain
personal
yourself.
hygiene.
Right.
Yes, all the things necessary.
When you get desperate and angry over sports, hey, maintain yourself. Man Groomer, well, thank you for sending this Man Groomer. I can't wait to try it and tweet about it.
Oh,
I
man.
may even tweet a video of me using it.
I can't wait for you to tell me how it scares you when you first turn it on. Dude. So I had the other one, and the other one, like I had version 2 or maybe 3, and it's good. This thing is
This
like
is the lithium
wow,
Max Plus.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I could take flight with this. I could chop down trees. This thing is tough.
I can't wait to try it.
I'm excited for you
I
because
might
it's gonna be
shave
hilarious.
every hair on my body with this thing. I might be.
Well, you remember both my. Well, yeah, I've actually used it more on my chest than I have on my back.
My back isn't super hairy, but I got like lower back hair.
That's
I'll be
the
happy
stuff.
to. I'll be happy to try
that's
that.
why that
Yeah.
thing is like. It's trust me, it's awesome.
I may
So-
just shave my legs while I'm watching TV. Just leave the hair on the floor and be like, "No, that's my apartment. What are you gonna do?"
You're gonna be like sitting there and well, I mean, I'm enjoying this so much. You just shave everything. You're gonna come here just bald.
All right, man, Grimmer. Well, thank you for sending that. Can't wait to try it, and we'll tweet out. I might even get the courage to do a video of me using it. So tweet that out.
Well, yeah. I remember my brother suggested that you guys should. Because I told him the story.
Oh,
And
shave
that you
each
should
other?
shave each other's backs on the show, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no, maybe.
I would do that.
We'll
I
see.
don't care.
Yeah, I don't. I
Whatever.
guess I don't have any shame.
All right, you got
Not
any
anymore.
stories for us?
I do.
Once again, thank you, Man Groomer.
Yes.
I assume, what's their website? I assume the website
I think it's mangroomer.com.
is it. I assume
but
it's mangroomer.com, but yeah, just make sure
It is.
So yeah, mangroomer.com. Check this out. The Lithium Max Plus back shaver. This looks really exciting. So thank you for sending that.
And
Very
if you
kind
sign
of you.
up when you go to the website for the first time, you will get 10% off your next order.
Nothing like saving money. So
Saving
thank
money
you.
and shaving hair.
Thank you, Man Groomer. We appreciate it. We'll give it a try, and we'll send you some love as well. Thank you.
So the story, I don't know. Did you read the what Will Smith did on his 50th birthday?
You know, I saw a tease of it, I think on GMA, but I saw bits of it on social media. I'm not really sure.
So he, I like Will Smith.
No, I do too.
And
his Instagram is great. I mean,
yeah,
he's like
he's
less than a year old on
he
Instagram,
is
and he's a great follow.
He's a great follow
Yeah.
on Instagram if you're not following him. But he has a fear of heights.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So this dude decided to bungee jump out of a helicopter into the Grand Canyon.
Nope.
Now, I've skydived 10 times in my life. I've
doing
bungee jumped once.
Nope.
I'm over it now, right? I'm 43 years old. I've done it. I did all that stuff when I was younger than 20.
Nope.
No need to do it, but I swear. So if you want to see it, like, we don't need to get into like the entire thing, but I mean, he did it. Alfonso Ribeiro, so Carlton kind of emceed the event, but you can go to his Instagram handle and the whole thing's on there, the video of it. And then you've got some celebrities like Jimmy Fallon and LeBron and Tom Cruise are like responding while it's happening, so that you can find like the whole thing. But yeah,
Very cool.
Grand Canyon, dude.
Bungee jump in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
for your
to
50th.
get over
Okay.
your fear of heights.
Wow. All right. It's one way to do it.
Do you remember the story of the Cosby actor, the Jeffrey Owens, the guy who
Yeah, and he was
works
he was working.
Yeah, he's a cashier at Trader Joe's
Yeah.
in New Jersey. Because apparently people think that once you act like you're just rich for life. I don't know. So he got kind of lit up on social media,
Right.
and people were like up in arms about it. And it got so crazy that he had to leave his job. Like, he had to leave.
Really?
Right.
That's terrible.
But since then, a lot of actors or just entertainers, Nicki Minaj being one of them, were kind of tweeting at him and saying, and tagging him on Instagram and saying, hey, we loved, like, the Cosby Show. We grew, unfortunate name choice at the current time, but like, we grew up on that show, like, and we loved your character. You're like a part of our childhood,
Right.
and stuff. And we're like offering him auditions, and Nicki Minaj is like, I'll give you like $25,000 because I like that. It's my favorite show. I
Yeah.
love that show. I love you. And so, dude's a total class act. He
So she gave him 25 grand.
gave him a check for 25 grand, or reached out to him. She didn't just
Yeah,
like sign him
sure.
a check. And instead of taking that money, he donated it to this charity that's called the Actors Fund.
Huh.
So what it is it's a fund for basically like super struggling actors, so they can get like health care
Oh, wow.
and stuff like that, who are trying to make it out there. So, it's a pretty cool charity.
Should set that one up for radio producers.
No kid, man. Set that up for, just anything.
Us.
Just us. Hey, 40 plus dudes. Chicago's expensive. So, he told her that that's what he wanted to do. She said, "Oh, of course, that sounds great."
Yeah.
So she wrote the check to that charity, But since then, he's got a couple of acting gigs, movie and TV.
Nice.
So I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Like, God, she's just
very
looks
cool.
like an alien.
Did you see? I think there was a comedian. I don't know who it was, and I can't remember where I saw it at. So I apologize. But there was a guy doing a bit on the Cosby Show and Bill Cosby, and he was like, "Why was his show called The Cosby Show, and yet his name was Cliff Huxtable?"
Oh yeah.
Where was that from?
That is
Where was
recent.
that? Where did I see? Yeah, within the last week. Because he was like, all right, Seinfeld had a Seinfeld show, he was Jerry Seinfeld.
Right. And, he's like, this is the whitest name. Like, I saw it.
So and so had this show, and they were, that was it. But it's the Cosby Show, and his name is Cliff Huxtable.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Heathcliff Huxtable.
And I never even thought about that. It's like, why was it the Cosby Show, and he was Heathcliff Huxtable?
I don't know, but
I gotta look that up. That was really
and
funny.
I did see it, and now it's escaping me. So
shocker that we can't remember something.
I know, hey, but this is we didn't remember something at the second to last segment or the second to last story of the show. So
we don't forget the sports stuff.
No,
that'll play well for the Sports is Life podcast.
No. Now I'm just gonna have to start forgetting sports stuff.
Yes.
Sorry, future listeners and current listeners. So as this is our final AFDE show, if you're just listening for the first time or if you've been listening all along, you know that I like to read things from the fine folks in Europe. They always come up with some funny-ass stuff. This actually kind of piggybacks off of, remember when I was talking about the app last week where it's supposed to be for measuring things and people are using it for their junk?
Right.
Okay, so there's...
and by junk, you don't mean like stuff you're throwing away either.
They're
not their garbage
stuff they're donating.
Right.
Well, maybe. But there's an app called Moonpig. Odd name, but it's like a greetings company. So you can go online, you can use an image, and then they'll send a greeting card to someone. So Moonpig begs customers to stop uploading photos of their genitals. This is a Metro. No. Wouldn't it be lovely to tell someone how much they mean to you by sending a printed out glossy photograph of your genitals on a greetings card? Lots of people think this apparently, but Moonpig disagree. The personalized card company has pleaded with customers to stop trying to get their private areas commemorated in card format. Please stop uploading pics of your genitals to our cards. It is against our T's and C's. That's definitely not an American thing there.
Right.
This is a limit to those. There is a limit to those Moonpig moments. If you're that desperate to send a dick pic greetings card, you'll have to do it the old-fashioned way by printing the photo out yourself and gluing it on with a Pritt stick. Did they score?
No.
Or were you just cheering that I was about to say Pritt stick?
No, I thought the Rockies just hit a home run, but he jumped into the ivy to catch it. Oh, boy.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, good.
No,
that's good. No. Again, Pritt stick. What's usually very funny about these stories are what people are tweeting and stuff. And as you can imagine,
that was Trump for a second.
That's what I did. I was like, "Who's that guy? Is he okay?" Is that
the CEO? He died. Someone tell him, please.
Roses are red, chocolates are candy. It's your birthday. Here's a pic of my fan. ... All these people tweeted about it. I thought it was just hilarious that. I don't know. I don't understand. I feel like that's the worst possible. No one wants to see that.
Happy birthday. Here's my wiener.
No, but no one wants to see a picture of your penis. That's got to be the least. We have to possess the least sexy.
Oh, men are very ugly.
Ah.
Yeah, men are really ugly.
The fact that people are still doing this,
men are really ugly, so it's fine.
Yeah, because you want to open a greeting card of that
for your birthday. I tweeted out something last night, and I was really proud of myself, and I just didn't take the time to hashtag it properly or tag people. But I kept seeing commercials for "This is us, this is us, this is us."
Very depressing. I haven't watched it, but I can imagine.
For some reason, I thought of Jerome Bettis, the bus, and so I tweeted out a picture of him.
This is bus,
and I just all I tweeted was "This is bus." And I didn't do anything with it other than just tweet it.
You didn't tag the show because I probably missed it.
I know. I'm thinking about retweeting because I thought it was one of the funniest things. This is bus.
Oh, it is funny.
But what's great about it though? Ranji, he replied. He was the only one that replied to it. He said, "I'm kind of mad at you for doing this, but I also kind of like it."
Yeah.
I just kept seeing commercials.
That's so good.
And I'm watching football, and for some reason, I thought of Jerome Bettis.
Oh
I'm
man,
like, this is
that
Bus.
is so funny. He's got the perfectly manicured, the man groomed face.
Beard, right? This is Bus.
Oh
Anyway,
man,
I'll retweet it. I'll tag the new show. This is Gus.
remember Gus Bus? Remember that from that bad?
Oh, before you get into the inspirational story too, real quick, because I know you watch. I normally don't. I didn't know it was the first episode of a new season. Just happened to watch this past Saturday and SNL.
Oh yeah.
And that opening, Brett Kavanaugh,
it's
Matt
brilliant.
Damon.
Brilliant.
First of all, Matt Damon looked like him. It was great.
Yeah, the emotion,
It was really, it was great.
everything. It was brilliant.
It was so funny.
It is so.
When he shotguns a can of water at
That
the end,
is
and he's drinking the water, spilling all over himself.
The
Just really
show
funny.
has become, and we talked about this on our show. I think Rob Schneider actually
Yeah.
tweeted about it, but it's become. It was never super. But I mean, it's a left leaning show.
Sure.
I mean, these are But what's funny is most of the writers are like Ivy League,
Right.
So, but it becomes so biased just due to the current political landscape. But like this was. I was dying.
It was great.
It was brilliant. And it was actually a good show. Like it was a good first episode, except for
except for Kanye West. I was like, I can say that's the first
God,
time
I
I've ever
hate
heard him
that
sing.
guy.
I've never heard him sing, and then he comes out in a Perrier bottle costume, and his buddy's in a Fiji water costume.
In the second one, there was a girl that you could see her nipples. That was cool.
She was kind of cute. Crystal was like, "Is she wearing a shirt?" She came out of the bathroom, and she was like, "Does that girl have a shirt on?" I'm like, yeah, she does."
Sure.
Yep. But the best things that happened after the Kavanaugh testimony was, you saw the social media video, I'm sure, where someone edited Brett Kavanaugh
With
and Samuel L. Jackson.
Pulp Fiction.
And then
Oh, my
Samuel L.
God.
Jackson commented on it. His tweet about
No,
it.
I didn't see that.
He tweeted on it. It was fantastic. And then the other thing that Deadspin took every instance where he talked about beer and mentioned beer and just clipped it all together. It's pretty disturbing. I mean, like this guy is a Supreme Court nominee, and it was really disturbing.
The SNL, the reason that they drove that home because that was not an exaggeration. So anyone, I think people thought that the amount of times he kept mentioning it was like them like pushing it.
No, yeah.
No,
Yeah, if you didn't watch.
No, you got to watch the real video. He's
But
like,
just-
Trish watched it and she goes, I can't believe this is real.
Go to Deadspin and watch the Deadspin video, and it's just beer.
Yeah.
I like beer. I still like beer. We drank beers. We
worked
I like
out.
beers. We walked around. We beers.
Squee. Donkey Dong.
like-
Gangbang Greg. Gangbang Greg.
Donkey Dong Doug.
Squee, Donkey Dong Doug, and Gangbang Greg. Well, okay, I think the Gangbang Greg thing they made up, or I don't think he said that because
Well, no, he didn't say that, or the Doug one, but Squeeze, his nickname was Buddy. Squee and Tobin.
Squee.
And I like, and the Damon was so great though, and he was like, "You want proof? You want evidence? I have these calendars. These
Oh my God.
creepy calendars." I started keeping calendars when I was in high school. No, you didn't. Oh my God, are you serious?
If you watch the
skis,
the Weekend
these
Update.
are Brewskis, right?
the Weekend Update,
That was
thing,
good. That was really good too.
with Ginsburg.
The whole thing was good except for the Kanye West. It was just brutal.
But the Ginsburg thing, where she like pulled out her calendar. You want to see my calendar today? Don't die. Brilliant. All right, we've reached the end, my friend.
Yep.
Well, Matt will give we'll give our goodbyes in a sec, but as we end every show with an inspirational story, and I'd say so many of them we've ended with the Good News Network. I changed it up. You're welcome to sunnyskies.com, the other one that we use. And I just thought that this was a good way to end our final AFDE show. They met as cancer patients at St. Jude's. 25 years
Get
later,
outta
they
here.
tied the knot.
No way.
Yep.
That's cool.
Joel Alsip and Lindsay Wilkerson tied the knot this month, 25 years after first meeting as patients at St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Lindsay was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia when she was 10. Joel was diagnosed with osteosarcoma at age 7. Those are two really big words. You like that?
For you, man.
When I met this guy, when I was in treatment, I admired him, Lindsay said of her now husband. I looked up to him. I thought he was such an incredible person. We grew in our friendship over the years.
That's crazy.
Lindsay and Joel lost touch when they went separate ways for college, but it was St. Jude's that brought them back together again. They ended up working there, dude. Both ended up working at the children's hospital that saved their lives many years ago. Wow. Lindsay, now 37, ran into Joel on her first day on the job. She said she instantly recognized his smile. I was finally brave enough to tell her that I liked her. Not only that, but I loved her. Joel, now 38, told Fox 13. Luckily, she felt the same way. The couple tied the knot on September 1st at St. Jude's at the hospital in Memphis.
Great.
I could have never fathomed that I'd be sitting here today at his side as his wife, having the privilege to be married on the grounds of the place that saved our lives.
Awesome.
The Alseps included other former cancer patients in their wedding party and hope that their story helps to inspire others.
That's great.
Yeah, I got all the like the weird numb tingle.
Yeah,
like,
it's really, really cool. That's a great story. And,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that was the last one for our inspirational stories for the AFDE show. Because as we move forward with the Sports is Life podcast, there are things that's going to evolve into doing. We've talked, and this has been talked about now for almost 2 years, and what we want to do, what we're going to do. And one of the places that I envision and pray and hope that we can benefit is a place like St. Jude's. And the things that we have planned down the road as we expand and grow from just a sports podcast. So that's what it's going to be.
In episode 1, when we were talking about our ideal jobs, remember where it was like our getting to know you thing, and both of us said being an active part of, if not running our own nonprofit.
Yeah, for sure. So for sure. That's still the
our,
dream and the goal.
Our path is moving that way.
Yeah, we're heading in that direction, and St. Jude's is definitely a place that we would like to help and benefit and grow. Not only for this story, but for the countless number of children and families that they help at no cost. I mean, it's unbelievable what they do. Yeah. So, great story to end it with. This is our final episode of the AFDE show. If you're listening now, then you've listened to the beginning of the podcast. You know exactly what's happening. We're not.
If you're just starting at,
jump into the final minute.
You just click the last minute.
That's I really like the inspirational story of the week story. That's all I like.
I'm so tired of these guys talking about sports. We just listen to the last 2 minutes.
I really wish they could segment this out so I could just listen to this thing only. So we'll be back next week. We're not taking any time off from it. We'll record next Tuesday the first episode of the Sports is Life podcast. Just be on the lookout for social media. We'll have all the stuff you need to know. We do want to thank all of you, though, that were there from episode 1 all the way through episode 48 of the AFDE show. We grew and evolved and changed as the year plus went on. And looking forward to doing this. Think it's a great step for the show and for our future in doing this podcast. And I know it's going to grow our audience base. And really just want to thank you, though, for being a loyal listener to the AFDE show. So some thank yous to pass along. Of course, our good friends, and they'll all be with us.
All be with us, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not like we're losing anybody, but they'll be with us for the Sports is Life podcast. Thank you to Mickey Finn's, 345 North Milwaukee Avenue in Libertyville. Check them out online at mickeyfinnsbrewery.com. They are our title sponsor. We do appreciate their not only their loyalty and friendship, but also their trust. When we started the AFDE show, we didn't have any episodes released yet, and they came to us. Brian came to me and said, "Hey, I want to give you guys some money for this thing," and this is before we even did anything. So, thank you for that confidence and that trust. Always,
I think I had made an avatar.
That's probably it, right?
Yeah.
Will's Northwood's in, who jumped in throughout the after the show started,
quickly,
and has been a loyal friend of the program. Had a great time hosting us at Packer-Palooza, so thank you for your hospitality then.
And we're going to stay with, and that's so Wisconsin is still going to be
we're going to keep that.
We're still going to do that because it's
great.
If you go to that place,
yeah,
it just encapsulates it so well.
It's great. So we'll do the Sports is Life podcast. We'll start next Wednesday, be the first one. We're not going to have segments. We're not going to break. We're going to roll it right through. So that's a Wisconsin will still be in there. And we're also going to welcome in a new sponsor next week that's going to take a run with us, Battaglio, Italian restaurant in Libertyville. We'll talk more about them on our first episode. They are great people. Tomas Quantana, but I know him as Tom Q. But his Italian pronunciation, that's how he gets
obviously
into it.
You know him as Tom Q because you couldn't just say it.
Yeah, I know, as I had to ask him 9 times. Say your last name again for me, Tom. It's a family-owned and operated business. It's great food, like homemade pastas each day, specials out of the kitchen every day. They do special happy hours. I like to go and sit at the bar. My guy Steve's the bartender. Tom sits down with me. We talk sports, have a good time. It's a great place. We'll talk more about them next week as well. So Mickey Finn's, thank you. Will's Northwood's in, thank you. Thank you for listening and being a part of the program, for telling your friends and family and coworkers all about the AFDE show. So it's so long for now, but it's a brief so long. It's not goodbye because we're back next week as the Sports is Life podcast. More to come. in social media this upcoming week on Twitter as well as Facebook. So for Jason, I'm Matt. This is the AFDE Show. It's our final episode in this format of the AFDE Show, episode number 48. Thank you. This has been great. We look forward to talking to you next week as Matt and Jason from the Sports is Life podcast.
All right. All the love. Thank you very much for listening, guys. We'll see you in a week.